turn your dial right now with SEC stories every play, every time we're Rob Brown breaking it all down. Yeah. SEC Sideline Sports on my mind. Rob Brown calling game time, highlight shine, executive mind. Brendan Martin keeping Rob in line. Like, subscribe, share it, tell everyone. Sideline Sports, y'all come back real soon. Same place, same time, same tune. From the booth to the field, every Saturday feeling you home. We ride that rivalry, make that living room sound like the zone. From Tiger Growls to Rebel crowds, every hometown heartbeat loud. Rob and Brand turning up that talk like you right there inside the crowd. SEC Sideline Sports on my mind. Rob Brown calling game time, highlight shine, executive mind. Brandon Martin keeping Rob in line. Like, subscribe, share it, tell everyone. Sideline Sports, y'all come back real soon. Same place, same time, same tune. Hey!
Puts you in a good mood, Brendan.
Yeah, I know. It's me on the solo.
I love this. You put me in a good mood.
Me on the
Seeing
solo
you on-
guitar.
I feel confident having you on the screen with me, like having a pilot. Hey, Rob Brown, Friday, March 20th, 2026. We have got an awesome show in store for you today. One of the best, most insightful guests you're going to find, Ron Higgins. He's a Hall of Fame sports writer, Shreveport Bossier Journal, lives in Baton Rouge. Of course, we still miss him in Memphis. He left us in 2013. He was up here for a long time writing for the Commercial Appeal, but he is with us, and he'll give you some great insight on what's going on at LSU. There's a story about how players are compensated. And, you know, I know this never happened when I was in college. Everybody was purely there for the education, but he'll talk about that. NCAA basketball.
All 6 years.
That's right. 6 years, redshirted twice. Doug Dean is with us from Fairhope on remote location. We got a great one. Brad Bellamy will join us late from Landers Ford. And look, take a picture with your cell phone of the QR codes. We are live streaming on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Man, Brendan, I cannot thank
X.
you.
How could you forget X?
Yeah, Twitter X. Yes, that X. Yes,
Yes, and Twix.
absolutely.
Yeah, we got to start calling it the right thing since we've got almost 1 million views on video like 3 days ago. So thank you, everybody.
Wow. Thank you, everybody, for watching this show. Thank you more than you know, Brendan.
And go ahead and don't be afraid to follow us. You know, you get the notifications, like whatever, you know what to do. You know, hit the button. So
hit that button.
And
Simplify.
let's get started because no one wants to hear this.
Yeah. That's right. We got brackets. It is a March Madness Friday. Doug Dean, Ron Higgins. Let's get started, guys. And Doug, Ron is a writer. You know, I miss staying up at night watching Late Night with David Letterman back when late night TV was funny. I've told you, and I told Paul Feinbaum, I'm telling you now, that's your next career. If you want to stop writing, you could still write, but we need you because you make us laugh about the crazy stuff going on. Great writers are your best guests because, like Doug's a great writer, you think about what you're saying because you've already written it. So I'm going to let you loose here, and let's talk some LSU, March Madness.
And what's going on? What's going on with that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, Doug, I lived in Fairhope for 1.5 years. It was like living in Mayberry. It was awesome. It's like Mayberry.
It really is. It's a cool little town.
No big deal.
Yep.
LSU. There's kind of like a political watchdog publication called Louisiana Illuminator, and they've joined up with Tiger Rag, who I used to work for, and WFB TV to sue LSU for public records regarding how LSU spends their $20 million in revenue sharing for athletes. Who gets what? LSU's saying those records are protected by federal student privacy laws and state NIL regulations. Which state NIL regulations, I don't know what they are in every state because they seem to bend them wherever you want to go. LSU's defense is that they feel like releasing it would violate student privacy records and also create a competitive disadvantage. The plaintiffs say their public records, they're subject to Louisiana, because LSU is a public institution, those are public funds, they should be released. I understand what they're trying to do, but I don't think it will get done. I mean, anytime you ask any coach about money and how much money is being spent, they can't even give you a figure total. Like we kind of know Lane Kiffin was way over 40 million on his roster.
Yeah.
We don't know specifics, and he probably won't tell us. I mean, Brian Kelly was who answered just about everything and as honestly could, was evasive on how much money they'd spent. I understand from a journalistic point why you want the records. I understand from LSU's point why they want to give them up. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll probably rule against LSU. I think they'll probably. I think we're in a political climate now that basically you can make up the rules as you go along, yeah, it might be illegal, but we'll make up a law that makes it legal. Okay, that's kind of like the way it works now. So I understand what LSU is doing, but I don't think it's going to happen. The general feeling the LSU fan base is that these three journalistic institutions are, just suing just to sue. I mean, I work for one of them. I know the guy who runs one of them. I mean, he always wants public salaries. We when I was with Tiger Rag, every year we do a financial issue where I had to go to the university and get the salary of everybody in the athletic department. We published them. I mean, everybody, even the assistant AD, everybody. And we published them. And I also got the NCAA financial records of how much money each sport won and lost. I mean, so I know kind of where this started. The guy from Tiger Rag probably started this thing, going toward this thing. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think the LSU fan base is kind of more concerned with the, spring practice starts next week.
Yeah.
Waiting on the head basketball coach situation. They're trying to hire. If they can't hire Will Wade back, which has been given the green light by all the power people at LSU, if they can't get him back, they may keep Matt McMahon for another year. I don't feel like I feel like the people who want to pay off Matt McMahon to get Will Wade will not pay off Matt McMahon if they can't get Will Wade, just to get somebody, another Matt McMahon, so to speak.
Yeah. That would be interesting because we've talked about it. Doug, Duffy, we've been bringing that up about Will Wade. Been to the tournament 8 of the last 9 years, Doug.
Yeah. March Madness, the setup, the format can break hearts. Romance can break hearts. And, man, after High Point taking down a very highly regarded Wisconsin that some analysts were saying they're built to beat anybody they play. Apparently, they're not built to be a little school no one's ever heard of in High Point, North Carolina. Yeah. But how can you not feel a little romantic about college basketball? And for me, at least, I don't hate on people that are avid NBA fans. But yesterday, especially that 5 versus 12 High Point Wisconsin game that Rob Brown picked, by the way.
Gary Harris, give Gary credit. Gary told me, and I said, you know what? I agree with you.
Yeah, and 12-5s are notorious for – it seems like every year there's at least one 12 that takes down a 5 because the margin of ability and a team gets hot, and what we see all the time is very difficult, the mental makeup of teams that have good seeding. If they get in a tight game under 10 minutes left, advantage underdog because in March Madness, especially those opening games, they're worried about being embarrassed that they blew an opening game to a 12 seed, and all of a sudden that plays into the hands of the underdog. And a little fun facts about High Point. I knew very little about them, but it's, of course, in High Point, North Carolina. This is not a normal college, Rob and Brendan, Ron. They have 15 very nice pools on campus for student use, a free ice cream truck that you can text and have them show up for free ice cream in between classes. And my favorite, there's a nice steak restaurant on campus, and you get to eat there once a month free. Now, when we say free, we all understand how that's embedded in the tuition cost.
Of course.
But it's a backdoor way to get mom and dad to pay for your entertainment during college, as if they're not already. So you go there, but you don't just go in there and pig out. They're teaching these students etiquette, fine dining, how to interact in a business setting at a nice restaurant. That's pretty cool. That's real life skills. But if to our audience, if you have not seen it, do a search on High Point student broadcast of that game yesterday, and you will see these two students. It was really pretty darn good broadcasting, the way they kept their composure. But you never get tired of hearing them say, the Cinderella slipper fits. We'll see you in the round of 32. So make sure you check that out, guys.
Yeah, and it is great stuff, and I love it. And Ron, looking at the big picture right now, and LSU blows my mind. I think 7 times in the last 26 years they've been to the tournament. You'd think they'd go every year. Ron, also, here's a question I'm going to throw to you. In this day and age of rev sharing, $21.5 million, it's going to go up every year. It's going to be harder to fire basketball coaches, especially in the SEC. That's why I think Matt McMahon, if they can get Will Wade back, they better make him a strong-ass offer, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they go after Will Wade, they're going to – if Will Wade wants to come back, he'll be back here.
Wow.
I mean, I think LSU's pretty much demonstrated with Kiffin, and also Kiffin's budget, the money doesn't matter if they want to get their guy. Interesting that's their guy. I'll be honest. I like Will Wade. I do. Look, yeah, he was before his time. He cheated and bought players before it was legal.
Yeah.
I think he was fired. He was fired like 4 months before they started paying players. And basically, he was seen by a lot of people as a sacrificial lamb to the NCAA to have the football program avoid violations. There are some LSU had paid. This is pathetic here. An executive of a children's hospital in Baton Rouge was funneling funds to pay an LSU player. And this player wasn't that good, as it turned out. But LSU could have gotten really tapped for that. But LSU offered up Will Wade and we're dealing with good faith here. We're fire him.
Yeah.
Will Wade didn't do anything different than say Kansas coach did. Another coach. The Kansas coach cheated and got a contract extension.
How about Sean Miller at Arizona? Remember that one?
I mean, they got an extension, and Will Wade got fired. I mean, I'm not defending Will Wade. Look, he got caught, and that's fine. But all I can say is, like I always say, Will Wade bought better players than Matt McMahon recruited illegally and bought them.
Yeah.
And the guy's a good coach. He was well liked by the fan base. He was, well liked by his players, by the people in the athletic department we worked with. I mean, everybody liked Will Wade. I like covering Will Wade because I knew that in a press conference he's going to be totally honest about stuff. I have these North Carolina State fans whining about how, after their loss that night, Will Wade threw the team under the bus. I'm tired of that. Okay, guys are getting paid. Yeah. Throw them under the damn bus and run them over 5 times. They're getting paid, so they have a right to be criticized. Okay, these are not. I don't say this whiny stuff online. He threw those kids under the bus. All those kids have agents or uncles or social media teams.
Yep.
I don't want to hear that crap anymore about throwing teams on the bus. Coaches have a right to do that now. They sure as hell do. I mean, I'll say, well, that could hurt recruiting. And these coaches are like, great. I don't want any more of these people like this here who aren't going to play hard. I mean, put it this way. Tennessee's entire women's basketball team, probably all of them are going to transfer as soon as they lose. They hate their coach. One player threatened to whip their coach's ASS
God.
to his face. And because this coach said, basically, y'all quit. And also the Tennessee coach plays a really goofy system, which nobody wants to play under, where she substitutes like 3 and 4 and 5 people every 3 minutes, which is incredibly dumb. That's how she plays. But I just think LSU needs to get back in the game. Men's basketball, women's basketball is going great. They got to sell out for tonight's first round game. Mulkey's a hell of a coach, and she's very charismatic, and people like that down here. And like I said before, I think now in college sports, because you have to go get money from NIL people, you better have a coach who's charismatic and they like, who can win, but who has a personality that they like. And I just feel like LSU needs to get back in the basketball game with men's. I was pulling for Siena. Holy moly, yesterday. I mean,
You weren't alone.
I mean, when you watch those games, you see these guys from these mid majors, and a lot of these mid majors, they say Prairie View one, and they were like 8th in their league this year. When you see guys like that come together and play their butt off and advance over teams with much bigger budgets and much bigger names, it's the only college tournament in America that allows you to do that. Yeah. Football, you would never get close to that. Baseball, very rarely be close to that. I mean, this is the one chance where, at least for the first weekend, you have this happen, and it's why probably more money is bet on the NCAA tournament than even the Super Bowl because of that.
Yeah,
Ron,
I would agree. Yeah,
Ron, I love the fire, and I'm with you. Players and fans and media can't have it both ways. If in that very questionable, and I tend to agree with President Trump yet again, I think the judge probably ruled the law correctly in the O'Bannon case, but sometimes what we need from a justice is pragmatism. It didn't take genius to know we were about to unleash a lot of unintended consequences, and almost none of it was actually name, image, and likeness compensation, except for, a gymnast and Olympic sports, some of the true iconic players like Suni Lee at Auburn, who won a gold, and others. But I want to react to a couple of things. I wonder, I don't know, but if you take the persona of one SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, I think we're seeing, and I bet he's very frustrated by it, a diminishing of his power, raw power, when he was speaking for, and he was a puppet master, which I don't mean critically, I mean it as a compliment, I guess, puppet master of all the architecture and shifting strategy and TV deals of the Southeastern Conference. And there was a time, not even a few years ago, where most athletic directors, and if not presidents, possibly coaches, properly lived in a little bit of fear of Greg Sankey. You wanted him to think well of you. So what will be interesting to watch, if LSU brings Will Wade back, and I don't begrudge that, he's a good coach. He would be the first to say he needs to get a faster start in March Madness some years, but he's not alone. My God, that's happened to Calipari and a bunch of great legendary coaches. Bruce Pearl, it's happened to all of them. You get in March Madness most years, you'll get got eventually. But I wonder if Greg Sankey has an opinion about the precedent of a coach being sent on his way under those circumstances, and this some would say this quickly bringing him back. All I'd say, Rob, is the egregious crime, NCAA crime, back under Coach Dye in 90-91 with Eric Ramsey of giving ribeye steaks to a defensive back for interceptions. It looks pretty tame in today's semi-pro compensation worlds. Don't you agree?
It does. And Ron, and when I was in school at Auburn, we used to help tutor guys in my fraternity, Eric Ramsey. They kids from Homewood. They all went to school with him. Very nice kid. And then that happened and everything changed. All right. This is great stuff by both of you. And I also want to say, I love what Ole Miss basketball coach Chris Beard said the other day. He goes, look, we played 4 games in a row or whatever. He goes, these kids growing up, AAU basketball, they play 2, 3, 4 games a day. He goes, I'm tired of this. These kids, they're tired. And Ron, thank you for saying what you said, and brilliant stuff, Doug, as well. Let's, if we can, and I know Brendan's got the games that happened yesterday. Let's talk about these games coming up tonight. I stayed up late. We all did. We've all got circles under our eyes. But damn, I love this NCAA tournament. And Ron, when Memphis is good, this town is on fire right now. Man, they're spinning their wheels and nothing's happening. Penny brings in a whole new roster. No one even knows the guys' names before they transfer. But let's talk about the schedule, if we can look at it, of the games today that really jump out, Ron, and get you excited, because a lot of people's brackets got busted. VCU over North Carolina. That look on Roy Williams' face in the stands was like he had just been double audited by the Department of the Treasury, Ron.
Yeah, anytime that happens in North Carolina, that's what happens.
Yeah.
I love this tournament. I covered probably 20, 25 Final Fours, NCAA tournaments. Sometimes I look on ESPN Classic and I see myself sitting behind a bench like 30 years ago. I go, well, look at him. He has more hair and he looks younger. The first Final Four I covered was Michael Jordan as a freshman in the Superdome when they won over Georgetown, and that was followed, I think, soon by the Memphis and the Big East teams in Lexington, Kentucky, which had probably the most legendary media party in the history of the Final Four. A rich horse farmer, this woman hosted a Final Four party on her horse farm, and it was really basically 4 hours of media debauchery. It was just really just. I love it. I love this tournament. I love what happens. I always love this. I have so many NCAA tournament stories. The very first NCAA tournament game I covered, LSU was playing Lamar, but before that game, no, LSU was somebody. But before that game, Louisville was playing Arkansas, and this is the game that U.S. Reed hit the. And so, he gets the ball and he comes down court and he shoots right in front of me, and I have an angle. I'm thinking that ball's going in. The ball goes in. He turns around and goes down press row and starts slapping hands with media guys. And can you believe that went in? Can you believe that? It's stuff like that. I was at the Ole Miss game. They lost. Was it Bryce Drew? A great play that was drawn up. That's what you love about this tournament, that you're going to see something crazy happen. And if you're fortunate, you're there in person covering it, which makes it even better. And that's what I love about it. And that's what I love about the first 2 rounds. I mean, usually by the time you get to the second weekend, the usual suspects are there. But the first day is good. The first 2 days are good. I think I went 12-4 the first day.
Wow.
But man, the second day, it's got so many good games here, man. Everybody talks about UCF as an upset pick to beat UCLA today. And you saw teams yesterday like kind of take it in the mouth early and come back, like Vanderbilt and the McNeese was behind. But there's so many good games. Missouri, Miami. That could be a 10-7 win for a 10 team. Alabama will probably get by Hofstra, but they won't get by the second round because of their marijuana smoking point guard who basically happened to have 2.1 pounds of weed on him.
Yeah,
that was a near miss on the weighing, wasn't it?
I'm thinking.
You realize that 2.2 or higher is.
Yeah, either you're going to sell it or you're auditioning for a Cheech and Chong movie and then basically smoke it for the next 8 months.
But on a serious, sorry, I walked on you, right? On a serious note, and we all want law enforcement to be fair, but not also look the other way when it happens to be an elite player. I would think most parents who have students at college prefer that, but it is ironic that if the definition of trafficking of marijuana is 2.2 pounds or higher, that was a near miss, putting it mildly.
He probably were coming and smoked that ounce before they got there.
Well,
yeah, man, he's over the corner.
Pound. It was a pound, not an ounce. I mean, he had like 16 ounces, I think, if you do the math. But I mean, that's a lot of pot, and he got hit with the state. You didn't put a stamp on it or whatever to get, so he got hit with the 2 federal crime.
Fix a tax stamp.
Yeah, fix a tax stamp. What I never heard of before, but we broke it down on Scarborough the other day. So he's not in a good place.
No.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is I don't know if not that I'm an aficionado of weed, but I know how to read, and it's a lot of marijuana, 1 pound, and he had 2.1 pounds. So if it had weighed 2.2, it would be by law trafficking. So, it just blows your mind. Here is a kid. And by the way, Auburn fans would say the AL.com headline, Ron, would read, Auburn transfer arrested for trafficking. That's how that shit works. Excuse me. But how does a kid know he's got March Madness right in front of him on a team, Alabama, that's capable of a very deep run, and you take some risks? The benefits of certain things are not worth the downside risk, and that's a learning that all of our kids and even adults should master as quickly as possible.
I was on Wimp Sanderson's show yesterday. We were talking about that. I said, Wimp, can you even imagine if you were a head coach and that happened? You're happy you're in the tournament. You're getting film the next opponent. You wake up and the police is calling you, and one of your best players has been arrested for 2.1 pounds.
Unbelievable.
It was like most time you see them,
and that's probably almost all of these players.
Yeah, but they found a cigarette. Okay, that's most time you found a cigarette. No, this guy took it to Cheech and Chong level. It was impressive as far as arrest standpoint. There was no doubt here.
Yeah, it just blows your mind. I mean, I got 4 kids. I've seen some crazy stuff, but nothing remotely close to that. I look at these scores from yesterday. TCU beats Ohio State. That's an 8 and a 9. Nebraska. The talk on the show yesterday was if Nebraska won their first ever NCAA tournament game, free Bud Light for people in Omaha and Lincoln. That's a big story. Bud Light making a comeback. Louisville gets the win over South Florida. Vandy, Mark Byington, he's a hell of a coach. Duke trailed for 29 minutes. High Point gets that big win over Wisconsin. I think that's Wisconsin's 5th straight time to lose as a 5 versus a 12. Michigan wins, but they had to work. That was a tighter game than people thought. Buckyball gets a win. Texas wins their second game in 2 days. They should. I mean, these are 18 to, I say nowadays, 30-year-old kids in college, because some of them are. They won't leave. And then I watched Gonzaga last night against Antoine Pettiford, Kennesaw State, Doug. That was a damn good game. So today, and then Georgia got obliterated by St. Louis. No one gave St. Louis a chance. But looking at their scoring efficiency, offense and defense, top 25. Thank you, Dave Bartu. Man, that was I didn't see that happening.
Rob, locally, and this show is heavy SEC flavor because of zip codes and what we follow. Our audience, I'm sure, follows most closely. But the signal yesterday was SEC got off to a fast start, lived up to they get criticized by the schools like Miami of Ohio. The narrative this year is everybody's bitching and moaning because we can't get games. The Power 4 teams won't play us. Well, you know why? You run the risk of getting beat, and it doesn't help your net score and the KenPom metrics. So there's enough blame to go around. But come on, Georgia, show up at least.
Yeah,
that was And I'm sure St. Louis is better than I realize, but you gotta have a stronger showing than that.
I'm sure Bruce Pearl's pointing to Georgia and saying, see, that's what Auburn should have got in. See,
maybe. I wish Bruce would. If Bruce is going to be on air, I love him. I always will, with 2 Final Fours and a couple of SEC championships. But it's unbecoming to become that partisan.
Yeah.
It's unbecoming.
You know what I think? That's the fault of the network. I'm sure the network encouraged it. I'm sure they encouraged it. I mean, I love Bruce Pearl too. I mean, you know, kind of a rogue, but it's okay. There's a lot of rogues with college basketball coaches. Okay, it's kind of who they are. But to go in there and it's like, you know, this is questions, have the access to the selection committee chairman and ask him why Auburn didn't get in. You know, even Charles Barkley said they shouldn't have got in, and then Charles is as big as Auburn guys you can get.
Yeah.
Charles said, "I'm not sitting by you, Bruce.
One game over 500, you're not going to get in, okay? Yeah. You're not, and it doesn't matter who you beat in December, okay? And you're not going to get in. You know, if you're fading down the stretch most of the time, you're not going to get in if you haven't beat anybody.
Nor should you.
Yeah, and so I agree with, but I also think that's partly ESPN too. I mean, I'm sure they could have said, no, Bruce. First of all, they could have said, Bruce, you know, you're going to be on the show, but it's kind of like, I said what it's like. It should have been like the College Football Playoff Committee, when they're discussing a certain school, and if they have an AD of that school or somebody in that conference in the room who's on the selection committee, they excuse them. They take them out of the room to discuss it. If they're going to talk about Auburn, they should take Bruce Pearl should not have even been on the set at that point, or they should have said, you really, you can't talk about Auburn. Your son is coach. I wish the selection committee guy would have said, you know why they didn't get in, Bruce? Because you waited till before the season started to resign so you get your son to be head coach. That's what I want him to say.
Ron, you're not even getting an argument from me and people that aren't close enough to the history of Auburn's basketball. There's some good marks. You've got iconic figures like Barkley that represent for you. A couple of stud players, Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler, doing good things, and even Dylan Cardwell in the NBA right now. But not a program that sustained any real competitiveness. And so I would have preferred that Bruce, as a father, if not an authority at Auburn who cared about the brand, 5 or 6 years ago, sent him anywhere to be an actual head coach and find out 2 or 3 years. That would be fair to Stephen, for that matter. And if he finds out that it's not his skill set, that he's still got some growing to do as young as he is, he would have been welcome to continue to coach the defensive side of the basketball team, whoever the coach was. But on the other hand, I don't fault John Cohen under the dire circumstances, admittedly orchestrated, it appears, by Bruce, and timing, that Cohen said, okay, Stephen's our guy. Bruce has done that much. He was a transformational leader. And I want to tell some of the sharp edge critics of Bruce as if he's some wild rogue. The evidence is not made up crap. The evidence is, which Bruce admits, he had an unofficial visitor to a barbecue at his house in Tennessee and then lied about it. Yeah. He was trying to skate that problem. And if you go way back, when like his first 5 years of coaching, there's a controversy somewhere. But I don't think many coaches, heaven knows Rick Pitino to name but one, I don't think many coaches would want the closet open to look for all of us to look at the skeletons. Yeah,
and Ron, let me draw a picture of comparison. People talk about being an assistant coach, especially to your father, playing for him for 11 years, like Stephen Pearl. That's like when being a financial advisor, when they say, hey, a bunch of fifth graders at public school 187 had a great portfolio of stocks they picked and they kicked ass. They beat the money managers. Hey, try doing it with real money. I do that. I'm telling you, it's a lot different when you're picking stocks and you're taking your clients' real money and watching them. When you don't have any skin in the game, it's easy. And that's what Matt Dean talks about, is moving the 18 inches to the left in that head coaching seat. But I'll tell you one that's a badass is Todd Golden. Now, he coached with Bruce for a year or two. He's close to him and Stephen. But I've got Florida. I went ahead and did the numbers. I couldn't make a case against them. I got them in my Final Four because they got those bigs, 5 of them that Ron, what are you?
Not sure they got the
6'9"?
guard play, Rob.
Yeah, that's the difference. But the bigs can do enough. But the guard play's not what it was last year, Ron. And great insight on that, Doug, about Bruce. And hey, it's not Jabba. It's just be careful about putting someone in a position when they're not ready, Ron. That's all it is.
Yeah. I like Florida too. I just, you have your game where you just get killed. It happens. I mean, and I firmly believe this. If you already know that you've got basically a top seed wrapped up, and it's human nature, if you're playing the game as a player, you're getting killed in this game. Nothing's going right in this game. You're not going to bust your ass that much the rest of the game, which I don't blame them. They're like they know they got a seed, and I don't blame. I mean, they could have gotten beat by 10, 20, 30. I don't think it really mattered. I think they kind of knew that. You don't want to go out that way in a tournament, but I think as a player, subconsciously, you're like, man, it's just not our day. Okay, let's just get it over with and get to the next game. And I think Florida, I really like them. All once they got their stuff together after the early year stuff, I've liked them all year, and I got them in the Final Four. I think one of my brackets I have them winning it. I think Todd Golden's a hell of a coach. It's hard to win back to back. Billy D did it because he kept all his team together, which probably now if you would think with NIL now how hard it would have been to keep that team together, those teams together, Billy dominant one, but those teams. They had a certain pride about them. They love playing with each other, and then they want to run it back, and they won 2 in a row. But now it's really, really, really hard to win 2 in a row because of NIL and people, shifting teams. But I really like Florida. I really do. I don't know how far Arkansas get, but I like that when they play Arizona. But I love Arkansas. Love their point guard. Best. I mean, I watched him 2 times, and I declared that guy's MVP of this league. He's a freshman of the year. In the SEC tournament, he just got better and better, and he kind of carries them. And Cal has already all of Cal's really good teams wherever he's been has had point guards who just are NBA players basically, and he's got one this year. So Arkansas has been fun to watch. I think those teams go the deepest. Alabama season, pardon the pun, went up in smoke.
I knew that was coming.
He went there. That was too easy.
Some guys would be sitting home in front of TV going, I could have made that.
You're the sports David Sedaris, I think.
Oh boy.
I'm looking at other. Tennessee. I don't know what you're going to get with Tennessee. I don't know. They're not as good as they were last year. I don't know what you're going to get with them. I really don't know. Vanderbilt, we'll see.
Yeah, Doug.
In one of my brackets, I've got Arkansas. I feel shaky about it, but I can't not consider that unbelievable performance in Nashville, which, Rob, I hate to be that guy, but which I liked a week ago. I thought that Arkansas and Calipari was set up to make it to Sunday, and lo and behold, they cut the nets down in Nashville. But I can't pick against. Admittedly, I've got 2 brackets. That's the rules in my neighborhood pool, but in my aggressive bracket, I've got Arkansas making the Final Four, and I don't think that would be overly shocking. If you look at, it's not going to be easy for anybody to make the Final Four. These 1 seeds are for real. And watch what'll happen. Duke, with that near-death experience, metaphorically, Duke will show up and just smoke whoever they play the next 2 games. Everybody's going to pick them to lose their next game, but I've seen this movie before, and that might have been a gift to Todd Golden to have a game. He can really teach his team about the importance of playing 40 minutes, and he can make a few adjustments. The irony of where Todd Golden, and it's multiple places, but where Todd Golden was mentored, guys, is not lost on me because we've been properly critical of Bruce Pearl. But Todd Golden was mentored, he would be the first to say, pretty heavily by Bruce Pearl. And there on his own staff, talk about irony, Bruce Pearl had what we would later find out is a national championship at a very young age basketball coach. Now, Florida gets a lot of credit for that. Great basketball brand over the years. But that Bruce had an elite head coach to succeed him on his staff. Unfortunately, possibly, that great future head coach, Todd Golden, was not his son. So here we are, right?
Yeah. I agree with you. Hey, one other thing, Ron, you were in Memphis, and Doug, you know what it's like when UAB's winning locally in Birmingham? It's great. Ron, covering Coach Cal, and I was working at Morgan Keegan out on Ridgeway Loop, and Jimmy Sexton and Kyle Rote Jr. were on the 5th floor, and we were on the 6th floor. So we'd see Coach Cal. We saw everybody, Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, everybody came out there. And then Cal lived like next door to Bishop Stibe over there in Red Acres, and he was almost a daily celebrant at Mass. It was so much fun what he did in the city of Memphis. He was a rock star. And then I remember in April of 2009, when the rumor mill was going crazy, he was going to Kentucky. A lot of people, I hate that guy. I love him for what he did for Memphis. I'll never forget taking all of our kids over on the Highland Strip, buying everything you could find with Memphis on it when they beat UCLA on Saturday to get to the championship game. Then we watched it at the El Marone Fieldhouse, up by 9 with 1:48 to go. And I said, if they can't hit their free throws, it ain't happening. And sadly, everybody was storming the court, and then they lost.
I was looking. It's kind of funny you said that. Last night I was looking through NCAA tournament records. Like highest free throw percentage in the game. Derrick Rose 11 of 12 versus Kansas. It's the 12th one. I remember that game. I remember sitting there with one of my other writers, younger writers, and it was about 2 minutes left. He goes, I'm gonna finish the story. It's over. I said, it's far from over. I've seen it happen too many times. It ain't over.
Yeah.
And that was one of those games where, the guy hits a shot going overtime. You can look at Memphis's body language. They were done. They were just done.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about the Final Four, man. Things happen, man. Just things. Things happen that just.
Like UNC blowing that lead last night and costing me a few bucks.
Yeah.
Great.
Doug, I know you got Doug's got to get out.
Awesome.
Doug's got to get to a meeting. So, Doug, final comments before you go.
I got just a couple of minutes. Get Brad in here.
Great stuff, by the way. And we're going to talk to Brad quickly. Yeah.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Man, at that game you guys were talking about, I was in Las Vegas. We had a Ford national meeting. Alan Malloy was the CEO, who's a huge Kansas guy. It was his first national meeting. So they stopped the meeting early and had huge big screens of the Kansas versus Memphis game.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to my buddy with 2 minutes left. Memphis up by 9. And I said, this is going to go down as one of the greatest teams in the history of college basketball. Then Chalmers steps out of bounds. They don't call the stepping out of bounds. And that's the crazy thing. If that game happens today, Memphis wins the game. Because that 3 never happens. They would have reviewed it. It would have been out of bounds. And then Memphis would have kept all those wins because there's no way they would have stripped a team of a national title. Instead, Memphis lost all those wins too. And, it never happened. But, man, that was probably the saddest I've ever been after a loss, except for maybe the Lions in the playoffs against the 49ers in the NFC Championship game 2 years ago.
Exactly. Doug, closing comments, and then we'll come right back.
Yeah, is there a more romantic and fun time of year? And, I have sometimes, Rob, in life, when you have adversity hurled at you, you got to work your tail off to find the silver lining. So it was, as an Auburn guy, pressure during this March Madness, and I can enjoy watching these teams and the 12-5 shockers and Duke fans. I'm sure we're saying a few novenas, those who are Catholic, late game yesterday. Yeah. Siena, who's ever heard of Siena? I had not heard much about them, but good to see you guys. Brad, thanks for helping sponsor the show, and y'all have a fantastic weekend, guys.
Doug, I'll talk to you. Thank you so much, man. Love having you on here. Let's say something. It is truck month right now. Landers, Ford. I was out there eating at the Skybox Cafe with my friend John Cunningham and had a great lunch. Shrimp and grits, by the way, there. Wow. If you're walking the Green Mile, that's another one to put on your list. But let's talk about LandersFordMemphis.com.
Hey, good morning. Glad to be on here with you guys. It is truck month, Rob. Ford this year will be 50 years in a row of F-Series leadership, truck leadership throughout the United States. So we did 49 last year. And truck month's a big part of that. We got 0% on 25s and 26s. The time goes a little bit longer. You can get 66 months flex buy. And then also we got rebates across the board from Bronco Sport to Bronco, $9,000 off our last few 25 Explorers. So every truck's got a rebate. We got discounts on them as well. So come out, check us out. I know a lot of people coming back from spring break. You didn't like how well your vehicle drove. So the new Expeditions continue to be super hot. So come on, check us out. We got plenty of inventory here at Houston Levy and Poplar and Carterville, and also right off the interstate in Mount Moriah as well. So Rob, it's been an awesome month. Couldn't be happier with our progress this month and how much traffic we've had for Truck Month. So great to be on with you guys. It's March Madness. What a fun day yesterday was. And one of the online wagering places had if you are ever up by 10 points, it pays out as a win. And so that Siena Duke game yesterday paid out because they got up by 10 points. And also last night, if Kennesaw State would have hit a 3, they'd have been up 10, but they airballed it. So there went that. But that was a pretty good prop bet that one of those sites had out there. And so I just bet all the underdogs yesterday, 16 bets, and more than 8 of them won, and a couple of them were pretty big underdogs. So it paid out well, and I did the exact same thing today.
Hey, as long as you win more than you lose, that's a good thing.
I'm training Claude Code on Mirafish, and then training several agents on it like Dave Bartu. And just for fun, the results were crazy because I was in game on Kalshi on the UNC game, and I had I'd taken UNC whatever for a couple of pops, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I was running this. If you don't know what Claude Code is, it's AI, and you train it, whatever. But the point is that there's this prediction. It's not software, but we'll call it software for this purposes. But it trains on all the models that are out there, and the people have put all these different models, like the Dave Bartus of the world. They've all dumped them in these these reposts, and you create this thing. So I asked it during the game, hey, I got whatever on this game. What do you think the results? About 3 minutes, and it came back, and it's like, you need to place another bet. You're going to lose. Like, I am not going to lose this game. Like, they're going to kill him. Like, and I got back and I was like, God, I should have covered my ass on that game. I was like, cause I could have dumped out, cause they'll say, hey, you can cash out right now for, $50 less than what your winnings would be. That's the whole thing. I was like, nah, they got this game. No one's ever lost a game this much lead in tournament history. And I'm like, except for this one. I should have listened to the damn AI.
Yeah,
I was flying back from Colorado, and I felt really good.
Home.
I felt really good about the Penn game. I had to finish the parlay. I had Penn plus 25.5. Felt really good about that with about 2 minutes before halftime, and that second half was brutal.
Yeah, it was. Ron, listening to all this and the excitement. I mean, again, we know in Memphis what it does to this city. You were reporting it. You've been to close to 30 Final Fours. The games today. I'm going to Memphis right after the show, down to Waffle Shop at Calvary for the Lenten lunches, getting the fish pudding. It's really good, by the way. And I love it. My mom volunteered down there for about 50 years with her friends, and there's going to be TVs on everywhere you go. Ron, write us a great story. Give us a tease line about what's going to happen today. And Brad, you're going to have color TVs out at Landers, but Ron, let's get that lead story, kind of get us excited.
Wow. I mean, there's so many great games today in this tournament, in these brackets, that I'm looking at, like 7-10 games and stuff like that. I'm interested. I think Miami, the Miami game, I think is an interesting game to me. They're favored to win. I mean, they're playing Missouri. I think Missouri's kind of underrated. I like Missouri a lot. That's a game I like. Generally, when I go, my memories from tournaments basically are not just games. They're quotes that I've gotten. That just when I tell these things forever, they make me laugh when I think about them.
Yeah.
Memphis after losing to Villanova. Okay. Baskerville Holmes comes out of the dressing room, the late Baskerville Holmes, to the dressing room. And his girlfriend's standing there. And he throws the arm around and he goes, "Baby, right now, I need me a drink and I need me some sex."
Holy, somebody's got a ringer on in the background, but
Yeah,
we heard that. We heard that one.
Yeah. The O'Bannons, I mean, when Arkansas got beat by UCLA in the final, talking to Arkansas, I went to Arkansas dressing room. Al Dillard, another little guy, shot threes, and basically the baggiest pants ever. I said, "Al, man, did y'all count about the them Bannons being this good?" He looked at me and goes, "Man, those O'Bannons are the mother effing truth." I'm thinking, how can I get that in the paper? That's what you remember. I mean, you remember like guys saying something like, I mean, when Baskerville Holmes said that, I was like, I'm gonna remember this forever. And he didn't use the word sex. He used the F word.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. Stuff like that you remember forever. I mean, the LSU Memphis game when Memphis had a great team, but that was the last year they had to play on home courts in regionals, and Memphis lost in that crazy last shot. They probably had a better team than their Final Four team.
Yeah.
I just remember Tel Brown going to shake Dana Kirk's hand, and Dana slapped his hand aside and keeps walking. It's stuff like that you take away that you remember forever. I remember sitting behind the Villanova bench in the Villanova Georgetown game and just watching. Villanova hit 22 of 26 shots in that game to win the game. It's stuff like that sticks out with you. And those moments. This tournament is about moments. There's a reason they call it One Shining Moments, because it's made up of tremendous moments through time and through this 4-week period. And that's what I love about it. And every day you're gonna get a moment. You had some moments yesterday, and today you're gonna get some more. And that's what I love. And that's why people, take time off work while kids skip school. And now you have the ability to basically bam, 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 watch everything, which is tremendous.
Yeah.
You just skip. You can see a score on a game. Like last night, I'm watching one game. You see a score on a game. Hey man, that's like a 2-point game with like 2 minutes left. I'm gonna switch to that.
Yes.
And that's what I love about now. You have the ability to do that. I love this. This is my favorite time of year. I'm gonna be honest. I love college football. I do. But March Madness, it's about everybody's got a shot. It's about dreams. It's about, it's about, winning when people count you out, winning games when hitting crazy shots or basically playing your butt off and winning a game as an underdog like yesterday. I mean, it happens every round, and the first first rounds. I can't wait. I'm gonna be glued to this TV set all day. Really, I'll be a lug. I'll be a big lug today. Yeah.
My dad, all the way up to age 97, would have the piece of paper from the paper with all the where's that game on there? And every time there was a commercial, we'd have to switch a game. Brad, I know you've got to get going.
Games. We only got a few minutes.
Yeah.
Times.
I mean, so real quick, I think history shows Virginia, Purdue both struggle first round. I think one of those games is going to be really close. Wright State comes from a conference that has a history of playing very well in the first round. Oakland, you remember a couple years ago when they won in the first round with a big upset. I like one of those two games to be really close at the end. Also, I love the story. You talked about Miami, Ron, but the other Miami to me is a really intriguing story. Playing against Tennessee, all the momentum. Those games, those playing games to me are a huge asset and benefit. If you win that game, the momentum you have coming to the tournament, we saw it a few years ago with NC State. I really like Miami in this game against Tennessee. So we saw it happen yesterday where Texas came out. They won against BYU. That game, they were up big. It got a lot closer at the end than it should have been. But I think today is going to be a very intriguing day. That Queens game, they've never been in the NCAA tournament, first year eligible. They make the NCAA tournament. They're playing against Purdue. Purdue's got a history, like I said, of struggling in the first round. So look at that game as being one that could be close. Bet365 has if they go up by 10, you win. And I think those are both very intriguing bets at long odds. So it's going to be a fun day. Man, March Madness is a blast. So thanks for the high beeps. And it's been a pleasure to be on with you guys this beautiful Friday. Let's go Truck Month. We'll have all the TVs on, guys. So come on out, buy a vehicle, watch it on our big screen, we'll have popcorn, and we're going to have a great time these next couple of days here at Landers Ford.
And nobody gives back more than the folks at Landers. Not only great product, greater people. Okay, Brad, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You
Thanks,
bet.
Brad.
Ryan, this is so much fun because of the real stuff of what you say. My wife said someone needs to do a 30 for 30 or a story. Where is Keith Lee? You know, where is he? Nothing was better back in the day with Big Jack Eaton and Dana Kirk doing the show with popcorn all over the floor, you know, the basketball review, and Keith Lee being on there. And I don't know where the beep's coming from. But Ryan, those were great stories. And Cal, he's so much fun to watch. He stayed too long at Kentucky. We know that. But, man, has he got the Arkansas people on fire. They took care of business in the first game yesterday. You think can we get your Final Four picks?
Yeah, let's see what I have up here. I know. Let me find them here. Hold on, let me go find my bracket. I know Florida's in there. I know Arizona's in there. That's like a big shock, really. Let's see. Let me find my brackets. I have like 2 or 3 brackets, but I have Florida winning. I just have a lot of faith in Florida, and I think you get your bad game out of the way. They got their bad game out of the way basically in the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Let's see here. Let me find. Okay, let's see. All right. I got St. John's. They're in the same bracket as Duke, in Michigan State, and I like in UConn. But I feel like some at St. John's this year, Patino reinventing himself. Basically,
yeah.
There's a guy who's reinvented his image after the most sordid stuff possible in Louisville.
Yes.
Let's see. Florida, Arizona, and let's see. Iowa State. Yeah, kind of offbeat.
Okay.
But most of the time you get like, a couple of 1s and a 2, maybe a 3.
Okay.
But I just kind of went off the grid. But I really like Florida. I'm a big Florida guy this year.
Yeah, they're strong. Ron, thank you so much we've run out of time, but this is great stuff. Everybody's going to be watching the games. Like I said, I'm going to Waffle Shop. They better have those games on TV or it's going to be a quick lunch. But thanks, everybody watching. Thank you more than you know for sharing it,
Thanks, Ron.
subscribe. But great stuff, and we'll see you next week if you can join us. Brendan, great stuff on these graphics of all these games. And, man, we're putting out, Brendan, the reels, folks. You're getting a lot of reels, a lot of great content. We do it every day.
All right. Well, we'll go over our Final Four next week, but yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk.
It's going to be fun, but look, stay tuned to this channel.
Look for us this weekend. We'll probably pop something up when we get all these things done. So.
Yeah, we'll be ready to go. Hey, most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Appreciate it more than you know. We'll see you this weekend.